Hey guys, so I'm going to be going over your Project 1 tonight in this video. And what I wanted to show you guys is kind of an iterative design process that works for me. And what your Project 1 is going to be is you'll be taking a business name, you'll create a logo, you'll create several different types of marketing materials for it, and put it all together in a presentation. So it kind of covers a whole bunch of different steps of the iterative design process. With that in mind, I'm going to kind of work through a process that really works for me. And I kind of got carried away and got a little bit ahead of myself. So I'm going to jump in here with what I've done so far. So I went to this random word generator right here and I set it to, and it's literally just randomwordgenerator.com. Gave it a number of words, and I kind of clicked until I saw, oh, bread factory, that'll be a fun one to do. So with that in mind, the business I'm going to be creating this logo for is going to be called Bread Factory, and it's just going to be, yeah. So I'm using that as inspiration both for the name and the logo that I'll be working with. So we'll minimize that. Then I got started on looking for design concepts. So I went through and kind of started looking at, well, I just Googled bread, or Bing, I guess. I binged bread, and just kind of grabbed some images that I liked, both in terms of bread, and then another one for factory. So there's a bunch of different logos here as well. Let me go back and, clicked out. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. What is this? Go away. Okay. So I got started a little bit, and what I did is I threw a bunch of these images here inside of Illustrator, and then I wanted to show you guys just kind of me working on a design sketch. So I took these two right here were kind of the ones that I liked a little bit more than the others, and so I pasted them here in Photoshop. And if it's gonna let me, yeah, there we go. So I have a drawing pad here so I can draw on the screen so you guys can actually see what I'm doing um, versus me trying to do, something else. So I've got the artwork there, and what I'm going to do is just kind of um, riff on kind of what I'm thinking for this. So in my case, I want my loaf to be a little bit rounder. Again, this is design inspiration, not design copy. So I'm going to go for a loaf that's a little bit rounder. Oops. That's what I get for not using the drawing pad in forever. Okay, let's try this again. So it's going to be a little bit rounder. I still am going to want to get 3 cuts in here. And I do kind of want to keep some of that the shading that was going on. And I know it's going to be a little bit more work, but I think it's going to be worth it. And I'll throw in another layer here just so I can do a little bit of work behind there. And what I'm looking in for particularly is going to be kind of like well, let me actually stick to black and white for this, and then I'll figure out colors later. So I would have, let's see. So I do want to keep sort of that going right there, and we'll keep those. This is just super quick concept. And then we go back. Yeah, oops, still kind of thick. So I'll probably have a couple little detail lines up here, but nothing crazy. And I'll work kind of those details out. The other thing that I wanted to do was kind of incorporate this gear motif. Don't necessarily know how I do it. Here's one of the rare times though that I'll use actually no, let's just stick to the pen tool because we're concept sketching here. So I don't know if what I want to do, let me copy these. Let me put that there and that there. So I don't know, make sure I'm down far enough in the layers. Not. Okay. So I don't know if I want, oops, get out of that too. I don't know if I want sort of, oops, still in the marquee tool. Get out of there. Okay. So something like gear tooth, gear tooth, gear tooth, and kind of either bring it behind the loaf here. And kind of fill that all in with something like a little bit darker. So let me go back. Yeah, pen tool. So I don't know if I want this to be something that this isn't filling in as nice as, or at least the edges aren't very sharp. That's probably my problem. Check your tools. All right. Okay. So again, this is just a concept sketch. I'm working very quick. I'm not refining anything. So there's that idea right there where I might have just that incorporated there. Or I would probably just do kind of like a half-sies under. So on this side, let's do like a gear, 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 gear. And I think this one looks a little bit better. I think the one thing I would do if I was going to go with this one is I would leave just like a little deselect. I like that little white stroke that they have there, so I would probably make sure that I have some kind of white stroke that follows through here. And I can get this a lot cleaner in Illustrator. So I think, I don't know which one. What else could I do to this? No, I think I kind of like that first one on the left here. So I'm just going to take this and we'll wrap up these layers. What? Merge layers. Copy. Okay, so let's go back to Illustrator and really? Fine. Merge everything. Okay, so we'll paste this back in here. That's my super rough concept sketch. Again, yours should be on paper. Please don't try and do this with a pencil and paper and stuff. Or with Illustrator or something. You do want to work on pencil and paper because you can just kind of iterate a little bit faster. The next thing, I like these colors right here. Those were some of the colors that kind of made this one pop. So what I'm going to do, this is just something I like to do, is I'm going to start out drawing a couple squares here at the top. And then I'm just going to sample different areas of color. So I'm going to sample that, and I may change it later. I'm assuming that this is the same color. We have 4F1EOD. Slightly different. I like this one better. We'll just get rid of that. We'll sample this whole background, and then we'll grab that as well. So now I've got kind of a four-step color process where we go from light to dark. If you're not sure about kind of how to match color theory, and I think this is actually a really nice jump around, I can show you guys a couple sites too. I guess we're going to forget about this one. We'll kind of do that, but not really. So let's go ahead and get started with the actual logo itself. So I've got some, oops, I've got some colors up here that I will reference probably towards the end, honestly. And then I've got sort of my super rough concept sketch. So I'll just get started. I'm going to need an oval for sure. This oval is going to need to be rotated. I'm going to switch it back to black and white. Oh my god. There we go. Okay. So this loaf isn't going to be completely round, so I'm going to just kind of tweak some of these sides a little bit so that it's not super perfectly round. I don't want it to be, and it rarely is if you've ever done any bread making. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of these little cut-ins that it had. So I'm just going to come in with the plus tool, and I'm going to give it 3 little points there, and then I'll pull the middle one down for that cut, and then I'm just going to do that. Just a shift C with the anchor point tool to clean up or to reset the handle on that, and I'm going to pull that over. So that'll serve as kind of, I'll base my cuts off of that. Let me actually do this and get it kind of, because this is kind of to the scale that I wanted it to be. So let me see how. Let me do all of them real quick. That's a bit far in. So this is so I can, but this is basically just me trying to figure out kind of off of my concept sketch how big I want these slices to be, because often I can kind of control what my hand concept sketch looks like a little bit better than I can some of the 3D artwork, or sorry, not 3D, 2D. Come on, grab this. Okay. So if we move these over here, oops, deselect, and then it looks like we've got to make them a little bit bigger. This is kind of, or we'll make this smaller. We can do either. Okay. And then we'll rotate this. Okay. So that's our loaf. Let's make this clear in the center so I can see these. We'll put them behind object lock. And then now I can go back with, oops, did I lock the whole thing? I locked the whole thing. Object lock. All right, so now I can use that as kind of a reference, which is one of the nice small side effects of doing that the way I did it. And then we'll just kind of shift some of these points around and continue adding the new ones as well. So there's that. All right, made that one. Come on. A sharp point. And then this one, I'll just kind of freehand this one a little bit because it's a bit further in than I wanted, but we'll work with it. Okay, so there I've got those 3. So then, let's see. We have that, we have that. Let's see, I think what I'm going to do now that I've got that kind of outlined is I'm just going to create, see how that's, I'm just going to kind of create a thick border all the way around. I don't necessarily want this to be 100% perfect, so I'm actually going to relock this object lock, and then from this what I'm going to do is just kind of do see how it's got this darker brown border all the way around. I'm going to recreate that, but I'm going to do it kind of artistically. So I'm just going to use the reference points I've got here, and I'm just gonna redraw this all the way around. And I don't want this to be perfect, right? In the case of my particular logo, that, or at least the style that I'm going for in this, it's fine if it's a little bit wobbly because I'm kind of going for that artistic. Let me see how they handled those. So it looks like it's kind of a right bias. So it got thin. Oh, they actually got rid of the border there entirely. Interesting. Well, it's a reference, not a copy. So I'm going to do what I want to do. So we'll put this edge right here. And then I'm just going to kind of, how do I want to do that? They do. Oh, they continued. Okay, I see what they did. All right. So I'm going to bring a little point in there and a little point across here. Point. And from here, okay, so I need to actually get rid of that and that. So then I'll have, what I'll end up with is this overall perimeter right here. And then I'll make a cut inside of this. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause this because otherwise you're just going to hear, or I'm going to cut the sound because otherwise you guys are just going to hear me droning on forever. And then I'll come back in later once I finish with this part. So once you see me kind of coloring this, that's when I'll start talking again. Okay. So I'm back. So this is the logo I came up with. Probably a bit more extra than I typically would do, but I don't know. I got in the zone. Anyway, so this is the logo I've created for you guys. I would say tonight, your first night, your goal should be to at least get a concept sketch and get a logo in progress. So for night one, I would say this is probably your goal. Again, this is probably a bit extra. It's probably a bit over the top. I wouldn't expect you guys to turn this in. See, there I go. I just can't. I have to make it 3 pixels taller. All right. Um, so yeah, that's where I got tonight. You guys will probably want to get to somewhere similar on the first night. Um, because you guys won't be turning this in until until Friday. So if you have your logo done and completed on the first night, you are good to go. Something else I'm gonna do real quick is actually take a step back, and I'm gonna save one of these little motifs off to the side. Um, but I mean, yeah. So if you were watching, you saw like I went through a couple different changes there. Did some different things, shifted things back around. One of the things I will be looking for is that I don't have like too many crazy overlapping lines or lines that aren't visible, right? If you see a line here, um, when you switch to this, you can see that there's a corresponding shape or something there. I probably didn't need to do as much of the work with making sure that some of these things overlap, because if you move this, it all goes wrong. So it's probably a bit of an overbuilt logo, but I'm gonna put this right. Oops. I'm gonna keep this off to the side because I'm going to use this um, later in some other stuff. So that's kind of the process that I would work through to get to my from basically this concept to this kind of artsy sketchy um, logo for this. So I will leave you guys here on this one and see you guys in the next video.